for a good time or what, I'd say, baby, in that coyote sort of way, because we get it right here in the light of day. As soon as the sun comes up, there's old Grandpa on the air on the Hazy Radio Network, along with Oakie Wan Kanobe and a whole raft of coyote-like friends, and a whole bunch of people vibing in, a whole bunch of angelic presences tuning in, bunch of freaky extraterrestrials hanging around. Oh, darling, it's really crazy over on this side of town, on this side of the mountain, I should say, because there ain't much town out here. Just a few hungry souls hanging out, desperately so, on the fringes of humanity, man. Right here, 9,000 feet high in the Rocky Mountain sky, you got that guy, Grandpaw Koyote, helping you do it just right. Get it in flight, man. You betcha. Take off. This is the place our graceful little feet caress the Mother Earth and say, I'll be back, baby, and floats away, man. You get those old wings out and play, right? Well, you got to get your heart out first. That's where the start is. Then the wings grow back, and you remember that you have them, okay? Yeah, baby. See, it's all about merging and melding your presences with your true reality, you know. I mean, shit. I know that's a mouthful early in the day, but guess what? You're up for it. I can tell, man. You got that funky little, a little bit of scratchy energy in your backside there. I can feel it, man. Just pushing you forward, pushing you forward, pushing you forward. Well, it feels like it's pushing you. It sure is encouraging you somehow now, isn't it? Yeah. But you don't know quite. You got that gnawing feeling, You don't know quite what you really want, what's really gonna, satisfy this thing. What's gonna get me through this? It's more than restlessness. It's definitely a restlessness in the soul, a restlessness in the heart, don't you know? Oh, we having some fun with you today, ain't we? But baby, just like that little itch, man, and it turns into a big old, vast, empty cavern if you let it, and then you just dive off, man, and then it don't matter anymore, man, because you're floating for the rest of forever. There is no up, there is no down. There's just you floating along and hanging around. That's all there is to it, baby. Well, and as you go through that, guess what? The dark void becomes the great light of creation. Fooled you once again, didn't they? Yeah, them son of a guns, they messing with it. Well, who the hell is they? Well, they is us. We designed all this stuff ourselves, man. We're clever little devils, I'll tell you, with a demonic heart inside of our angelic presence. Now, aren't we, man? But guess what? This is going to be, in this reality of 3D, one of the best wrap-ups you could ever hope for. I mean, you just won't believe what you see here in the next 30 to 60 to 90 days, I mean, give it some time frame, but, it's happening right now inside. That's what that itch is all about, man. We all know it's coming. We all know it's here. That's why we feel it, dear, see. And we're just itching to get it on, to do whatever it is we got to get done, to get, out there standing naked in the sun along with everyone. And to feel the grand orgasm together, man. Yeah, you heard me right, baby. The grand orgasm, man, Because once we all let it go, we live in a constant ecstatic joy like that. And every voice rises up and says, oh, yeah. That's the beginning of the greatest rock opera there could ever be. Those first two little words. Oh, yeah, mama. Had to add that third, didn't we? Well, it's Mama's fault, man, it really is, She let us go and let us be as stupid as we wanted to be, but we were still, even though you didn't know it, we were still kind of limited in the 3D, I mean, if you think it's bad, just imagine what it could have been, then it could be worse, okay? So just let go of that thought, be in this thought today, which says it's all okay. Whatever's been is there, and it's a damned divine comedy. Tragicomedy, it's a really good soap opera. I mean, you would not believe everybody that tunes into our little act. Oh, yeah, you're on stage every moment that you live, even when you're sleeping and dreaming and shit, man. It's true. We're all watching you, man, each and every one of us, and living through you, too, man. You don't get away with nothing here. You share it with everyone, dear. Yes, indeed. You thought it was kind of queer to be, and you had to be secret and private and all that. Yeah. This life can sure tumble you around, can't it? That's why I often call it a world, not a W-O-R-L-D, but a W-H-I-R-L-E-D, world, because it's always whirling you around and bouncing up and down. I mean, some people are born to be basketballs, you know what I mean, or football's even worse. I mean, oh, wow, or a golf ball. Oh, baby, it's big changes here in our reality. My neighbor's putting in a miniature golf putting course, man. I mean, like, wow. I mean, whew. This world is coming to whole new horizons, man, since we started approaching the multidimensionality, and everybody's becoming far more fun-loving, don't you see? One of these days you'll be up here with me, and we'll be up there at the neighbors putting away a little golf, and maybe go in and shoot a game of pool after that. There's no alcohol now, but you can bring all the Mary Jane you want, okay? It makes you shoot more accurate anyway. Once you figure out how to play. Ever notice that even though you got all these miniature golf courses all over the country, I've played a few of them here and there, not too many. I mean, shit, I'm no golf fanatic, but I just noticed no matter how fancy designed they are, or how similar or how different they are, each one has their own little feel to it. You know what I mean? I imagine big golf courses like that too, but who got time for that, man? Shoot, I'm a busy little boy in Israel. I ain't going to go bat some little white ball around and watch it slice over that way and hook over that way and go through that dude's windshield and hit that old lady on it. No way, man. That's dangerous sport. I was standing there one day, this must have been 40 years ago, making a phone call to my ever-present dispatch. Where am I going to go next, I was on a payphone, of course, and back then we didn't know what a cell phone was just yet, babies, I'm just standing there minding my own business on hold for an hour, of course, in this little gas station where the payphone was. There's this little plate glass window right beside me, and all of a sudden it goes kaboom and shatters all around me. I didn't get one scratch. God, the angels were there, I tell you. But that's somebody golfing across this road over there hooked it so bad it came right through the window over here at the gas station, which is probably 150 yards from where he's shooting. Guy was sure surprised when I tracked him down. I kept track of him, until I was done with my phone call. I went and tracked the son of a gun down and told him he better go contact the gas station and take care of business, Let him know that he almost killed me with his stupid bad shot. You know what I mean? Babies, this is why I don't like big golf courses. The only thing fun about them, the golf carts, and some of the ladies that hang out there, some of them are cool, but mostly it's just a bunch of stodgy old farts with lots of money and cigars and martinis and shit, and it's just boring. But I can see why old people do that. It keeps you active, gives you go out and walk and stretch your muscles a little bit, but it's not too tough, Some of them walk a whole 3 steps from the golf cart to where their ball is, right? Well, what are we doing goofing around with golfing today? Well, I'll tell you what, it's a golfing kind of day, Should be a dolphin kind of day too, okay, because they're both playful, see? But it's the miniature golf that I'm more interested in because, remember when they first started building those glorious little miniature golf courses with all the wild, weird traps in them and all the crazy buildings and statues and hooks and turns and lakes and rivers, in a miniature sort of way. It was wild, man. I tell you, I loved California when I first ran into them. I think it was right down there around Sacramento, out there east just a little bit. I used to stay at this one, La Quinta, I think it was, I don't know, 70s. I don't even know if La Quinta was around back then. All I remember is a sandstone-looking building, and some pretty nice rooms for the money, man. But anyway, right across the street was one of them big old exotic little miniature golf courses, so I'd go bat a round or two when I had time, you know what I mean? If it wasn't too worn out. And it was kind of fun, man, but it just keeps you in this flow. You got to have your recreation, and you got to keep it, minimal so you don't hurt anybody, You don't want to take the chance that you're going to hit that little old lady on the head with your goofball or, that poor dumbass truck driver over there making his phone call in the gas station. You could have killed the man easily, so, Well, babies, it's time to, be conscious in our presence. and adjust our activities accordingly. Doesn't mean you can't have fun. God, life is all about having fun. That's what everybody's looking for. That's what that itch is all about. This ain't fun. I gotta find more. This is fun. I want more, more, more. This is fun. Let's expand and grow. See, it's the way human beings are, don't you know? We're real driven. And we don't let ourselves go. It's part of our misery, too, because we don't let ourselves go until we got it. Or we're dead, in which case we got it anyway, because, that's when you go back to the land of dreams, baby, where everybody loves everything and everything's in love with you, and oh my goodness, you're center stage all the time too, man. Well, so's everybody else. I mean, it's just a wild little life on that other side. See, what we're doing, we've been going down this little golf course. First we started on a great big long one, with all that danger involved, you could thwack up a eagle or something flying by. You just never know. You don't want to be hitting that guy. You don't want to do hazardous things. This is like going out and shooting a shotgun around in the air randomly and seeing what it hits, if it hits anything. At least you're reasonably safe with a shotgun, because those pellets ain't going to go that far. Oh, guys, we're getting it clear here, dear, in an odd sort of way. Because we've been on, we started on that big old long golf course. We built it ourselves well in advance. That's Mother Earth and this 3D reality around her, including the universe. Yeah, we put it all together, man, all of it. We dreamed it together, and that's how we constructed it, So that was our long course to start with. But now we're finding as we go along, and we're getting a little kinder, because we keep getting this little reminder that we're made of love, and start to center up and grow, and all of our energies get united, don't you know? Talk about a lack of danger. Now you could play any game. And you'd be so consciously present when you're this centered up that you would not make the mistake that would hurt anyone. And your timing would always be perfect, and you could bat that a little bit. You could do whatever you want, see? But we've been batting our old ball down that long golf course of love forever and ever now. But notice the courses are getting shorter and shorter. Every now and then we get a hole in one, just kind of by accident, Well, that's what the next 30, 60, 90 days are all about in this old 3D. Things are kind of coming to a head now, and if we don't go ahead and do it now, just pull the plug on the old and plug in the new, well, baby, we're all through. So we don't want to do that. We've been that way before many times. And we've had enough. See, we've learned our lessons, and we've learned them well. We've seen through the bosses that rose up out of hell and tried to take our paradise from us, the mother truckers. I mean, it's a beautiful course, too, man. Well, that was us. That's the abject side of ourselves. We had to get back in congruity with the rest of our personal being. See, we hadn't done a very good job of that before, man. We've been living in this fractured reality, polarity, bipolarity, and manic depression to boot. I mean, shit. Double shit, man, but you got to remember that shit is just fertilizer. And when you spread it on the field and you let it compost down and you turn it into the soil, oh, goodness. Things love to grow in that stuff, don't you know? Because then you got the richest sort of basic elements in the earth. It homogenizes, well, don't homogenize, I don't know how to describe it. Kind of homogenizes into the soil, becomes one with the earth, the baser elements. And out of those baser elements, which in our case is seeing the love in every activity we ever committed with ourselves in this lifetime. But get down to those basic elements, and out of that comes the golden light of love that brings the seed forward from the ground and blossoms the flower as it grows, man. And the blossom goes on forever and covers over the whole golf course, and we don't have to play that way anymore. Now we're the growing flowers. We're expanding into all of our creation in a very feeling sort of way. We're finding inside and with each other as we connect and communicate in ever-increasing numbers, in first tiny little groups here and there and so on. But as we begin to find hearts that whose energies match ours, it amplifies, we find, our blossoming effect. And so we just get more and more and more and more expanded into the reality around us in a very feeling sort of way. But it starts there in the guttural way. It starts in the most primal way. Right there at your root, baby. Now that's where, the seed has to put the root down. So the seed in your heart, it's been found. It opens, it puts its root down inside of your personal presence, which is reflected then by a rooting feeling with the earth right through your feet. Right down into the Mother Earth's heart, baby. I tell you, it's sweet, man, when you're living this connected. And from that, then you begin to realize you are the stem of the blossoming flower, the center of the bud, and all the blossoms on it, of course. All the little petals, all the little leaves, everything. You see, and as you expand out in that feeling way, you grow into everything that surrounds you in a feeling sort of way. And you can't help but be orgasmically ecstatic. Now, it's a soft, easy thing. It's not like some of the hard things we do here. It's a soft, easy, ever-flowing thing, like a wave, a gentle wave on the ocean, man, And it's steady, and it's gaining turf as it goes along, of course, gaining size and dimension, but it's just steady as you please. Soft and loving. It's just, it's hard to describe such an experience, but you know it, you feel it, you flow with it. It's very feminine in its form, but it's got the directness of the masculinity in it too. You see, it's what the flower is. It's a union of color, of substance, of baser elements into the grandest form of creation, the blossoming flower of love, whose fragrance transforms everything. You see, this is how we roll on out of the 3D. We break it down to these baser elements and see the love in it. Then we can let go of those old practices and be done with them. They just fade away. See, we don't have to commit a rebellious activity. We don't need revolution, an armed revolt of any sort. Notice how some of the governmental entities are trying to push you that way. In some places, they're succeeding, too. Now, babies, we know about mind control now. We know about manipulation by the political realities of our person and other persons around us, too. We've seen them take out really good people who meant to do right by people who, when they realized how deep they were in, started blowing the whistle. They didn't want this to happen to Earth or to us. They realized what they were involved in and started putting out as much as they could, and then bango, somebody puts them down, But babies, each time they do that, commit an act like that, well, that flower blossoms even more on the other side, don't you know? And it increases the intensity of truth on this side. So it becomes unavoidable. Every time you take out a basically innocent being like that, and most beings are, in fact, all are, really. But even in the visibility of 3D, most beings are innocent. These ones that are going down are only trying to do the best for humanity. And have got the sake of us at heart. And that, even though they might be trying to make money out of it too, etc., whatever, whatever their other motivations might be, the essence of it is like getting that ball straight down the course for humanity. So they're not afraid to take a risk with their life. In fact, a lot of them know they're going to go down, but they figure it's worth it. They may not be able to speak that to their friends and relatives, but they know what they're involved with, you see, and what they've contracted for. And that's all they're doing when they go down is fulfilling a contract, because that's what they knew would come around if they ever, became the tattletale. And thank goodness they do. Truth is coming out everywhere, and there's lots of evidence behind it. One of the highest muckety-mucks in the Catholic Church just got busted over there in Europe yesterday for, what do you think? Pedophilia, child abuse, man. I mean, there's some real crazy truths coming forward, but you got to keep in mind, don't get hysterical. Don't be reactionary about any of this shit. You got to remember it's been going on for thousands of years, and these are just players in a grander play. That don't mean we ain't going to take them out and get them out of the way. You see, because as this stuff reveals itself, then it becomes impossible to do that anymore. What's gone on in secret is completely revealed. There are no secrets. That's why you really want to pay attention to the music here today. It's live and spontaneous in every way. You want to pay attention to the flow of the feeling, You want to pay attention to what's going on around you, too, you see. And let that truth reveal itself to you, and don't be repulsed by any of it. Be blessed by all of it, because thank God, it's over with. No more children, no more women will have to suffer, let alone the men will have to suffer. Nor will the earth or her critters anymore. We've got it. We're bringing it together, and we do this inside of our own personal little world. Not thinking ourselves to be any better or any worse than anyone else, just going with the flow of our opening heart, don't you know? So let the rhythm, the tribal beat in this rock and roll, compel you into the multidimensional effect of vision, of living in the vision of the heart, which is a revision for humanity, because then we're living in the creative side of life. And I tell you, the dimensions just meld away, and it's one great big old ball of love in which we all play. That's where all the heart of this rock and roll comes from, that we're playing here today and every day, Monday through Friday, hearing that hazy radio sort of way. Now, ain't you glad you tuned in, baby, today? See, tuned in to more than just a radio station and some silly old man and his dog hanging out with a bunch of crazy little, figurements and forms here and all kinds of suggestions of mystical presences and so forth, man. It's not just that. It's you recreating your world, recreating yourself, coming forward now in the truthful presence of what you truthfully are. You see, and this will dispel any so-called bad or negative energies from you. They just meld into the larger cosmic mix of love. You understand the benefit of whatever you got involved in, what energies you were carrying, and how, as a spiritual expert, you were dealing with them in a very creative way, even though you were dumb and numb to it all along. The energy's got to stop somewhere, and it's got, the beginning has to be realized, and that's your part. That's what you've done. No big deal right now, here in this moment. It's all okay. Because that desire, that sickness, that wickedness, that vileness has gone away. You can't even think or think that way any longer. Today is your day. This is your moment of expansive explosion. I call it the nuclear explosion, but it takes an implosion to get it going, just like any other nuclear explosion does too. You got to give it a little compaction to get the action, Jackson, you see. So we really compacted ourselves in this 3D, didn't we, man? Talk about cave people we still got, and enslaved people. Oh, gee, wow. Oh, let an old string of cuss words go away on that one, okay? But, oh, darling, we just living it right today, ain't we, man? I mean, just coming out to play. You feel it, you rock with it, you roll with it, you be it, baby, That's your blossoming growth, and you don't have to dwell on the past to get it on. Just be free right here in this moment. If you got any rectification, which you'll probably do, it'll come back to you when you're ready for it, baby. Just don't worry about it. Just be open. See what's real here today. Take a little toke of the sacred herb, Mary J. Let her help you expand along the way. That's her effect if you don't overdo it. Well, even if you do, she still softens you up and helps you think the larger thoughts and see the bigger picture of what's really going on here, and where there might really be a divine feminine in everything, and that the authoritarian masculinity is the biggest cosmic joke there could ever be. Coyote medicine through and through. Of course, the ladies know that because they're always the neck that turns the head. The man could be a big old piggy buffoon, and the woman still controls him. At least in his base behavior, if not all of it. See, I mean, that's just the way it's been in the 3D. But doesn't mean it comes out any more beneficial, because the women been just as screwed up as the men. Because we're not any different. Even though in our cultures and our reality, we seem vastly different from one another, both in physical form and shape and condition too, but etc. And we have, vastly different ways of approaching and even thinking about life, right? At least that's what's been brainwashed into us, baby, one way or another, by the cultures around us. So then we feel this big old separation, and then we feel this urgent itch to, procreate, and join together that way. And shoot, man, what a zoo we have thrown ourselves into, through this emptiness that becomes a need. In both sides of the equation, I might add. Because there ain't no sides to the equation. In fact, there ain't even an equation. It all just sums up to what it is. Mother love in motion. She put her kids in the playpen, says, okay, have fun, see you later. And babies, you know, she didn't walk away unloving now, did she? She didn't even walk away. In fact, she stayed present the whole time. Watch the whole thing from her view in the divine. And if you look inside, you'll find that same cosmic ride, see? Now you got some drive, babies, and you could drive a golf ball clear across the universe and make a hole-in-one on a far distant planet, couldn't you? Yeah, or anything else you chose to be. That's how perfect our real reality can be, because that's what we are in it. The more you blossom and grow, the more you feel it, don't you know? You are the champions. You make, what's his name, you know, Palmer and Woods and all the rest of those people look like a bunch of dinky little amateurs. You know, they're way overpaid, too, I might add. But we're way overplayed, man. You know, and now we're getting out of that. You know, we love the tricky side of life. It's been fun to deal with it. You know, I mean, sometimes in an abysmal sort of way. I just lost a really, really good soul sister a couple, 3 days ago. Couldn't get out of the abysmal, but that's okay. Get out of it somehow. See, if you release your energy in any way to the freedom of love, you've done what you needed to do here. You know, and some are going to do it one way and some are going to do it another, but it's all happening together. And the way the worlds are working right now, the division, the veils between the parallel universes of life and death, as we see it from here, are dissolving. And people are starting to see and communicate in person with, you know, dead ancestors and so forth, you know, because they're more living than we are. They're back in the unconditional, ever-present love of the true person of creation. But see, that's what we're bringing here to us in the 3D, and that's why all this other crap dissolves away. Because only truth can come out to play now. We made this heart distinction quite some time ago in our own abysmal sort of way, but it worked. We tricked them, baby. They've been tricking us for so long, so what the hell, let's do a trick or two ourselves, and it worked. So long time ago, well, not that long ago, 30 years or so, you know, we got it. We got hooked up with the universe back to our own creative heart. And that's when the 3D began to dissolve away in its activity. It's getting weaker, not stronger. That's why some of the darker forces that seem dark anyway here are trying to rise up and, you know, foment even more. You know, it's like Syria, you know, just for example, and I'm not political and I'm not involved, but I don't believe in war. And here's Syria, you know, actually getting an upper hand on the rebels financed by, you know, mysterious elements in our own USA government and so forth, you know. And just when they're getting the upper hand, well, then somebody else, a nearby country that's rather aggressive, let's say, attacks them. Sends tanks and bombs and stuff in there because they don't want to see them succeed in putting these, you know, rebels away. You see, and as long as you're thinking in these 3D terms, it's kind of, you know, I mean, that's the game you play, you know. I mean, one way or the other, you may not be nations fighting each other, but you're a family feud too. I mean, come on, that's what all these wars are anyways, family feuds. One big happy family when you finally get down to it. See, and so we're getting around to it, baby. You know, as we gather and unite inside with our own specific energy and our own vision of what life is, well, we're sharing that far and wide, that peaceful feeling when you're united, you see. But that's a strong, strong energy, even though it feels soft as all get out. The more you allow it to be, the more influential it is. And this elements of war just die away. I mean, nobody feels like fighting today. You know what I mean? No matter how bad the great leader froths at the mouth and says, kill each other, I need some, you know, sacrifice and shit. You know, I'm like, whatever, man, you know. Let's help that one get over it too, okay? Because we're getting it over it, I'm getting over it. Oakie's got over it a long time ago. And, you know, we've got a few trailblazers that came before and actually accomplished it in times when it was impossible, don't you know? There's some real saints in our heart, but guess what? If one person's got it, past, present, future, we all got it, because we're all united in our creation, okay? Well, that's the rock and roll rhythm of it today, man. Now listen again to this tribal beat, man, and let it lift you off your feet. You know, see yourself dancing across the sky. Come join me there, okay? It's Spring Creek, baby. Clear as a bell, coming through the real moment of truth right there inside of you. Coming, agitated and irritated into being, not only by that itchy feeling, but this itchy feeling, old man here at Studio 420 that helps you find a plenty. Only and exclusively on the Everclear Hazy Radio Network there. HazyRadio.com. We're rocking on, okay? Even back in the 60s, we kind of knew that because we all come out of a Nazi reality, kind of a very, very backwards kind of 3D existence where everything was fixed and firm and in its place, and you didn't vary from the, established norms very, very much till the 60s anyway. Then the kids came out to play, and the big old heart of mama showed the way. Now that ain't necessarily your mama here on the standing earth ground team kind of thing, man. But it might be your mama in a bigger sense, wouldn't you say? The kind that's represented by the sacred herb Mary J. Make sure you get a token today, okay? Because that's the way to help you along. Mama's really strong in her softness, and she wants to demonstrate it right away. So, don't neglect your sweet Mary J. And just in case you're in some place where they're still, dark and repressive and won't let you smoke sacred herb without fearing for your life or having to go to jail or something, well, I'll smoke one for you right now and share the sacred buzz, okay, man? And, the expansive energy of it. Rock on, rock on. This is the Rocky Mountain way. It's totally legal here, man. Up on the mountains, down in the valleys, out on the prairies, man. Everybody's growing weed and fulfilling their need to expand and grow and set the pace for the rest of the world, don't you know? This is where all the high people have been drawn to is Colorado, don't you know? It's explosive growth. The rest of you states around us better, start taking a look at the state of being over here, okay? You could replicate a little of it there, even in Nebraska, if you tried. I can see them, I knew people out there in the western Nebraska back in the 60s and 70s were growing weed out in the middle of the cornfield. Finally paying off the farm, man. I mean, shoot, babies. You got to admire them, man. They had some real charm. For a bunch of little square-headed Nebraskans, they did okay. And they kind of set the pace for today, man. The energy's there. The love energy's in them fields where they used to grow that weed, Ooh, but I got a sad tale about that, I'll tell you sometime. But in the long run, it's a really good one, you see. Well, maybe I should just go ahead and tell you. But first, let me tell you about a new feature over at thecoyoteclub.com or thecoyoteclub.com. It's the, which is me, which is you, don't you see? That's our little support portal for humanity. It also supports this little radio show that further supports humanity in its humaneness, wouldn't you say? In a rock and roll sort of way, day after day, with regular rhythmic harmony, just like the rock and roll we play that moves your heart and soul, wouldn't you say? Oh, yeah, and you're catching on today. I can feel it, man. See, you got to get down in the gritty part of it, and just make it a part of you, too. It can be mischievous, but it can't be blue. It can't be, dragging you down and sucking on you or giving others a hook into you, man. It's just an established part of you that comes from the center like everything else does too, you see. We bring it all back together so you won't be blue. So anyhow, we got this new feature over there. I have to do. I can't help it, babies. It just comes through, it is live and spontaneous too, musically and otherwise too, man. I just kind of kick back here and just let the thing direct itself and push the appropriate buttons to make it happen. It's pretty cool, eh? Sit here in this little Studio 420 and radiate love all over the earth here from Spring Creek, the rockin'est little radio show you ever come to know. In the flow, don't you know? The flow of your own heart medicine, baby, the veritable stream of life. And this is where it begins. So here, now that we've expanded in, I'll share this toke with you, he says with a grin. Oh, yeah, baby. That is the stuff. It just brings you right back into your ever-present heart and soul because you let go of the fear has been holding you back. See, a lot of folks, they smoke a little weed and they go, oh, I'm so too damn paranoid, I can't do. Well, it's because you got all this suppressed fear down inside, dear, and you don't even know you have it, a lot of it, because it's so subliminal, sub-psychological, subconscious, don't you know? But in the subconscious is the heart's energy, which is the super consciousness, where everything works on automatic pilot right now and is very programmable to a certain extent from the outside. And a lot of people even have implants, they got from the boogie woogies when they came and snatched them away and took them to their laboratory in the sky, and oh, goodness, poor little abductees. Okay, now, my heart goes out to you, baby. May you be free of all the illusions that you see, and see what's real here, so you'll get the deal, so you can let go of all the trauma, don't you know, and, give up on that old bullshit show. No, you're far more powerful than anything that's ever abducted you. For real, baby. Okay, there's a new feature over at thecoyoteclub.com, which is TheKoyote.com. Okay? Now you got the way. It's always a K when you're dealing with Grandpaw Koyote, because K is the way. We can't do with a weak little C, no matter what the British say. I'm sorry if the dictionary doesn't agree. That's our family tribal name, don't you see it? Also in that sound word coyote with the K. Well, that is the way of the vibe, wouldn't you say? That's the beginning bass note that begins it all, even though it starts with a K, because it's pure. Yeah, like that, you see. Just a simple little but it makes a tremendous difference in the way we apply ourselves in this reality. Because we realize we're the coyote with the K, which is the pure sort of way, which says, well, babies, we ain't robbing no banks today, but guess what we are? We're getting rid of the illusion of them, okay? The illusion of money just fades away. The big old white monument there in Babylon goes down with it too, man. And the rest of that place too. It's going to be an underwater amusement park pretty soon. We'll have little glass-in submarines we can go right around in. Still see the statue of Abe Lincoln sitting up there watching over the big stairway and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, But the big white thing, the mollusky thing, you know what I'm talking about. Funny how that kind of matches our president in some ways, eh? But anyway, it's like, it's just going to dissolve away, man. It'll just, because that is the very symbol of the male authoritarian way. And see, we don't need that anymore. We never did, but it's an experience we chose. We created it, like we created that long golf course in which we played that game on, eh? See, we had to take it easy. Some of us even had golf carts with wings and stuff like that, because it could be a long way, 30, 35 strokes to get up to the hole there, don't you know? You ever get a hole in one on that one, baby? You did something, don't you know? So this new feature over here, talk about a hole-in-one. This new feature over here at thecoyoteclub.com, well, darlings, it's a place to get it on. You got something troubling you in your life, just type me a little note over there at this place called Live Chat. Now, you have to do it down in the comments section. It's kind of set up a little like a two-way blog, So, and you have to give a name to yourself. You don't have to give any other information to get on there and make a comment, okay? And when you do, Grandpa checks in on it kind of regularly. And if I see a little comment there, a question, somebody needs to know some clarification on this, that, or the other, I'll respond to you, man, And the really good questions, the deep, meaningful, and powerful ones, well, we'll ignore those. But anything that looks real gritty and kind of coyote, well, we'll get on with, what's them on the radio. Give us something a little more to respond to, don't you know? Because we just love it when we're all in the flow. And if anybody's having a glitchy time of it, well, we're here to rectify that right away. That's, when we call our little website a support portal for humanity. So this is just in the energy of all of that. So you can get all the support you need there. Really, you can. And not just on this new page called Live Chat, but also the papal blessing, creative something or another. I mean, there's several pages there with all kinds of encouragement and fantastic energy to keep you moving along, okay? So it's not just a fundraiser for this here radio show, which is, by the way, listener supported. If you're out there in some kind of green business and you want to promote it really good, well, let me know, man. We don't run commercials here, but I'll certainly give you a plug and we'll work something out, okay? Plus, we'll get you over there on our sponsors page on the website. You got it? See, it works that way, man. You scratch my back, I'm scratching yours, and everybody else is scratching theirs. And baby, we're just all, having the grins and, doing it without having to commit the mortal sins. Oh, goodness. Hey, listen, in Port Mary Jane's world, there ain't no mortal sins. They're just stuff to let go of, disagreeable behavior that's harmful to others. Crap on that, man, and flush it away, okay? It's enough of that today, man. Get it on in the expansive sort of way. Get it in your heart when you say, and if this radio show ain't enough for you, baby, if it ain't helping you get it clear, well, get your arse on over to the Coyote Club and get the extra support you need. And don't forget to tune into Grandpa's Facebook pages. I got several of them up there. My personal page is getting kind of full, so, the friends list is really long. And so I got a personality page up called Grandpa Peter Coyote. I've got Pope Mary Jane's got its own page over there. And what else do we have? Spirit Wind Productions, which is our producing companion behind all of this, which me and the Spotted Eagle founded quite some time ago. It's an interesting story. You can read that on the About page. Don't you know? ABOUT, in case you didn't hear me right. About. Yeah, that's about Spirit Wind Production, because that is our official website for Spirit Wind Production. But the Facebook page has a lot of interesting stuff on it, too. I try to keep them as current as I can. It's pretty hard, man. We're fishing in an empty ocean these days, but there's always one to be caught, see? So, in other words, there's some little nuggets out there floating around in that sewage of life, that's the internet, man. Because a lot of it is pretty dark and negative. But guess what? I'm watching it change too. I'm pretty explorative on the internet. I'm always looking here, looking there, and seeing what's happening and what people are putting up articles about, what news is, and so on and so forth. But wow, in general now, I see a trend out of the negative way. I mean, there's still people's comments I have to delete on my own little personal page because they're just too darn dark, and some people are just stuck and fixed in their reality, and you can't have it any other way. Tesla was full of shit, that kind of thing, or the angels don't exist. Okay, have it your way. I respect that, see? I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm here to share what I have, what the angels have, what the human heart has, what the Mother Love has, the great Mary Jane who helps us along the way. That's a metaphor, wouldn't you say? But it's still that same Mother Love, see? And the more you understand then the true aspects of the Mary Jane in the sacred herb form, the more you will understand the true aspects of your mother, which is the earth, which gives you your birth, B-E-R-T-H, your place of being. Nice little soft little cushy mattress, a little cushy mattress cloud to lay on and play your guitars for the rest of evermore, beat them drums and be a part of the greatest rock and roll show there could ever be, because we already are. That's what I represent here day after day in this Spring Creek sort of way on the Hazy Radio Network. Babies, is like that aspect. It says we are rock and rollers. We are the stars of the universe. And the children thereof, too, man. Our little Hollywoodish world, it kind of suggests to us the true aspect of every person in humanity. And babies, it's not just Earth, but this is where it began. This is where we made our home and where we were created of. This is the beginning molecule in the universe from which humanity arose and spread itself all across this universe. Planetary realities everywhere, just chock full of human beings and looking for more places to expand and grow, as well as all the other forms of life that we in essence created. And they in essence created us too. It's a mutual dreaming thing. You see, And this is why it's so important to get it right here in this 3D and catch on to the way of the heart. Because as we purify our inner world, the outer world around us, all this universe of reality rectifies itself too. That's how I can speak so boldly or confidently about things like, the old shithole city back there that regulates everybody with a great big white old phallus standing above it all. That I can safely say it's going to go underwater one day, and that big old phallus will dissolve away, because that's not the way of the heart. It's backwards from it. It's kind of the way of the heart in the sense that we needed that aspect of energy. We needed to go through it because we had created in this reality, in the beginning, we had created a rather harder form, a denser form of life, and it couldn't handle itself very well. We tried for hundreds of millions of years, and it just didn't make it. So then we took that same hardened energy, dense energy, into ourselves, found ways to represent it in a human sort of way, and ways to work it out through many, many eons of time and generations, which in essence is one singular moment outside of time. But we'll, display that as much as we can right now. But if you don't get it, we'll talk about it a little more later, you see. Yeah. Just get this back in the heart, right here in the 3D, so we can expand within it quite naturally, you see. It's not that we reject the 3D, it's just that we see the illusion of pain and suffering and the creation thereof. We see the illusion of the sickness in hearts that causes them to hate their fellow human beings and try to impose suffering and death and destruction on them and feed on the misery of it. You see, that is a complete illusion. No matter how it's been portrayed here. You have to understand the nature of your own heart. And then you'll further understand yourself, and you'll see why it works the same on the inside as it does on the outside. We're not divided anymore. You see, we've got some unifying energies going on here in the 3D, coming through me, coming through you, and lots of others like us too, all across this earth. And because we can unify the energies and no longer live in a bipolar sort of way or a divided sort of way where there's push-pull and pressures, and all that stuff. No, it's over with. We've learned our lesson, and the lesson is what? Love's in everything, no matter how you see it or how you live it, no matter the state of your unconscious presence in this reality. You're always in service to the grand heart of love. That grand heart of love is in service within each one of us. All of us together as one personal being in creation. The grandmother love, as I call it. And she is a pretty grandmother, and you're going to get to know her rather well over these next 90 days. In fact, it's coming pretty quick. It could complete its little transition in 60 days. It could do it in 30 days. Time, even though there are those that can see the future, those are only possibilities. What's happening here right now creates that future, you see. So it's all about what happens here, not there. You can't safely then predict anything that's going to happen. You just go with the flow of it. You can see where it's headed. You can see the general drift and direction of it and make a personal assumption inside that it's going to be like that. And in so doing, it's not one of those assuming assumptions. It's the idea that that's the way humanity wants it. And so the collective heart, working, speaking inside of you brings that into being too. Because we held a mutual dream of it. Now, see, that's how we got through the ugly life to begin with, as, almost unpresent spiritual beings in physicality. We carried that steady energy, that dream, in every life. We had that dream, that ideal life that would just be this and that. We built something onto it as we grew into our years. So it got kind of warped and out of shape, because it always does here. The view here hasn't been clear whatsoever, dear, Anybody that thinks they got it absolutely right's got it absolutely wrong, myself included. You see, you can't be that absolute, but there is the absolute love that's in everything. And therefore all experience, the toxicity is neutralized from it in all ways, because there is love in every element of life living, all of it. whether it's made of machine or organic bionics, whatever, it doesn't matter. All presences are conscious in some way, and fully conscious in the creation as we allow it inside of ourselves. In other words, to watch the end of this division as our heart inside unites, takes flight, gets it right. Now, I know I don't have time for that story today, but this is a larger one anyway. And it's the real story of what we're living here, isn't it? What we're given here through the mighty exposition of some really great musical entertainment. Yeah, right. This is far more than that, isn't it, kids? See, when you start to hear the bass beat, the rhythmic harmony, and it starts to vibrate you inside, it vibrates you loose a little bit. Then you take the multi-dimensional ride, and you start to hear the angelic elements in all of this tunage we play here. All of this rock and roll, and a little medicine for your heart and soul, little blues, little rhythm, little rock. Babies, we've got it on, don't we, see? We pry you loose a little bit here, a little bit there. And it's not you, it's me too. I mean, and the doggy and everybody else, we're all doing this together, whether we know it or not. The more we know it, the more effective it becomes, and the quicker it happens. But see, you don't want to be here in anticipation. You want to be here in, maturation. Like the egg waiting patiently to hatch out. You see it. You be it. And you know that you're magnetically drawn then to that moment of nirvanic expression that we keep describing here in many different ways. Orgasmic is all get out, but not in that hard pounding sort of way, but in the way of the great softness of the heart that creates. That which truthfully loves that which hates it, and takes all the pain away because of that, along with that stupid-ass hatred. See, it cannot exist in a loving way. So in our loving presence, which many see us separated from, we are completely in congruity, in synchronicity with everything that's here. All beings and presences and powers, no matter how petty we've been here, or how many little disputes we might have with somebody else, or somebody's else, the government, for example, etc., No matter how that is, the reality is that none of this exists. That's how we can safely call it an illusion, even though it has the substance of reality to it, doesn't it? In other words, it feels real when you're living it and going through it. And goodness, we sure heaped a lot of experience on ourselves. See, it's kind of like we're the movie on the other side of the projector, living in what we project out into living expression before us as a form of entertainment. Education for real, because you see, it's the heart of earth, the heart of life, learning to describe itself in poetic terms, learning to serve itself in a unified sort of way, and appreciate that now. Because it's something we stepped away from a long time ago, this unity presence, this conscious presence of the collective activity in creation, not just amongst humanity. We're one of its vessels. Each one of us and all of us collectively are the vessel of the universal heart. The vessel then that is the form of expression through which creation comes into being, And that's how we come into being, by recognizing that simple, pleasant, rockin' little truth. Now here's some real gifted and talented gentlemen to help you and me and the rest of us that you see along the way, man. They got some real multi-dimensional presence in this one. So, man, before you start rocking your ass off, put your hand over your heart and say thank you, okay?